Hey everybody, this is Dominic DeAngelo of WrestleZone.com. Today's date is October 25th, 2020. And I have none other than Beyond the Mat, Matt McCarthy of We Watch Wrestling Podcast. Matt.
Well, hello there.
Hello there. Oh man. I tell you what, we've had some run-ins a couple times at some StarCasts here and there. And then it's just fascinating to see, like, I was first introduced to you via Wade Keller of PW Torch. You were interviewed for them, and then you guys got me hooked way back in the Sibley days with We Watch Wrestling. So.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's awesome to have you. You have a new album coming out, or it's already out. Sober Dad. Talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get into some Hell in a Cell talk coming up here.
Yeah, Sober Dad. It's available on all digital audio platforms. It's a half hour of stand-up comedy, and I'm really proud of it. It's the culmination of a lot of work, and on the back end of it, a couple years ago, I had released a 7-inch single, which I still have, maybe like 10. If there's any vinyl heads out there, you can hit me up at McCarthy Redhead on Twitter. But the Pro Wrestling Fan 7-inch vinyl is something that we put out on Capsule Records, Vince Avrill's amazing hardcore label that Vince is the co-host of the We Watch Wrestling podcast with me. And the single is a 9-10 minute routine, just about. It's something I had been talking about for years on the We Watch Wrestling podcast as a manifesto of, like, in defense of the professional wrestling fan. Like, I was like, somebody needs to do, because plenty of stand-ups have done, bits about wrestling and about being a fan, but I'm like, but nobody's ever stood up and taken, like, a stance as this is why I'm a wrestling fan. This is what we go through as wrestling fans, dealing with these people who just, don't get it, don't want to get it. You hear the same inane arguments of just like, it's fake,
Hey,
don't
it's fake.
you?
Don't you know that?
Oh God, all that shit. And then the routine, I did it got recorded, we pressed it on vinyl. But the reason I mention it is because I have a much more so a few other thoughts are expanded upon on the Sober Dad album. So there's the whole closing segment of the album is about the pro wrestling fan, and it's I look at myself as, I'm doing this for us,
Right. Right.
And every time I do the routine, either there's wrestling fans who are like, dude, thank you so much, I'm going to use these. And I'm like, please use these things in your everyday life. But also, without exception, people who don't watch wrestling, have never been interested in wrestling, come up to me after shows and they're like, I want to watch wrestling now after hearing that. So
how great is that? That has to be an awesome feeling when that happens.
Right. Because that's always been my, I'm 40 now, and I've just gotten a lot more tired, but I used to be like at the spearhead of like, no, everybody needs to like pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And basically now I'm just, I'll get people like, hey, isn't there like there's like a new, and I'm like, yes, AEW Wednesday nights, TNT, you need to watch it. Check it out. Yeah. They're like, oh, is it? But it's like, I'm like, no. It's not what you think it's going to be.
It's funny because I also work at Whole Foods. So, and with the pandemic going on, we got to man the door and like let people in and stuff like that.
Right.
So I currently been reading Bret Hart's biography. And so
wow.
I'm sitting there, like, as I'm keeping count of the door, and I have a book by me, and everybody's like, hey, what are you reading? And I'm like, it's a pro wrestler biography about Bret Hart. And they're like, oh, hey, how about that? And like, some people get super intrigued in it, and other people are just like appreciative that I'm reading, like, instead of looking at the phone.
Well, that's what, whenever I tell anybody that, what if somebody finds out that I used to write at WWE, because I had 2 runs as a writer there.
Right.
And
what were your years again before?
I was there 2011 and 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there Mania 28,
right?
Cena versus Rock down in Florida, And then the second run, and then I quit because I was like, I just need to go back to being a comedian. And then I was moving from New York to LA. And then the very beginning of 2016, my son had just been born. I got the call and they were like, hey, how about you be a consultant? You stay in LA, do your comedy thing, and just do writing assignments each week. And then I did that for 2 more years.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that part. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like my second run, like my first run, I wrote the team, a lot of Team Hell No stuff. Team Hell No stuff was kind of the looked to be a comedy guy. So I did a lot of Zack Ryder, a lot of Santino. It's tough enough being a writer there, but it's especially tough being the comedy guy because Vince McMahon's idea of comedy is, somebody getting their foot stuck in a bucket,
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or climbing into a coffin with a mannequin dressed like a woman, stuff like that.
Quality, highbrow shit.
Right.
Yeah.
God, it's good shit.
It's good shit. Pal.
I remember somebody brought up the Katie Vick thing in a meeting once, and I remember him just going, God, it's the funniest thing we've ever done.
Was it really?
Yeah. Still digging in his heels. He's like, people just don't appreciate dark humor.
That, man. It's great shit.
That's what it was. So I wrote the anger management stuff that they did with Brian and Kane, and then the second run I was involved in stuff like I wrote the Miz and Maurice doing the Toto Bellas parody.
Yes, okay.
Or like when they paired up Goldust and R-Truth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Darren Young, and I was just on Fred's podcast, Darren Young and Bob Backlund. Those things. That was all Fred's idea too. And it was like, I was like, it's so funny watching them now. It makes so much more sense in, the 2020, everybody's on Zoom thing where it's just like two people facing the screen talking to each other. But like back then it was like, why are they not in the same room? Why are they talking to each other via satellite? It was so strange.
Yeah.
But like, that was the vision that either Fred had or Vince had. I think it might have been Vince. I don't even know what, but I was like, all right, I'll write them like that. Like they're both just a split screen thing.
Yeah. But now it's a common occurrence nowadays.
Strange how it has aged better with
right?
the technology.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, always involved in stuff like that. Involved in like Fashion Police, the Twin Peaks stuff, all that. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of interesting too. I wasn't gonna bring up too much Dynamite, but like.
Oh, but what I was gonna say was, anytime I bring it up, anytime somebody finds out I'm a writer there, it's the same thing like happened with you. They're like, wait, so they're writers? So what do you write? Like, he punches him? He hits him?
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about Dynamite? I love Dynamite. I
love
all
me too.
Wrestling.
So I do a show on here, like with my brother, and we recap Dynamite each week. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the Dinner Debonair segment, as like since you do the comedy, and yeah. I'm somebody that likes comedy in wrestling, but I feel it needs to be done right and like executed appropriately. Yeah. And it doesn't, and it should not affect the star's persona over a course of time. Like it shouldn't like damage them. So if you do that, I think you can execute it very well. And this, I love the Dinner Debonair segment. I'm curious what you thought about it. Like what'd you think overall and how it was executed, and did it affect the product in a negative fashion at all to you?
I mean, I'll answer the last part first. It's like nothing. The product is bulletproof. Nothing can. Triple H climbed in a coffin with a mannequin. It's like at a certain point, like you're gonna run some people off, but not with a musical segment. I'm sorry. No. You're just not. I found Matt Hardy, almost cracking his skull open on the concrete, much more offensive. I mean, let's be honest. And then like it stopped, it started. It's like, guys, God bless you, but no. The night I was watching, almost without exception, I watch stuff after it airs. I got a small son. We're quarantined.
Right.
You know, I don't know if you guys
or where all that stuff.
I don't know if you guys know about this. So it's tough. That was a night where, and I'm on the West Coast, and the way that, you know, my setup here is I can watch Dynamite at 5 p.m., but I got to wait till 8 to watch NXT. And this was happened to be a night where I can watch Dynamite at 5 and I'm going to watch NXT at 8. But there's still a lot of commotion going on. So I'm in and out of the room. And at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I think I got to sit down and watch Dynamite again. So I'm in the kitchen and the TV's on in my office. And I hear like what sounds like shitty Frank Sinatra, right?
Yeah.
Going on so long that I'm like, wait, that's not a commercial. I don't know what that is. I'm like, is this the wrestling? Because I was in the room when the dinner started and I was like, I did run out, you know, it's dinner time, shit's happening. Life is in session. And and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, is that Jericho and MJF? What are they doing? And I run back in my room and I see them singing and dancing. Basically, I see the very finish of the singing. And I just, to myself, I go, oh my God, what the fuck are they doing? Are you kidding me? Right?
Yeah.
So no context, just like, ugh.
Yeah.
So then I see the end where they sit down and it's awkward and then the steak comes and then and I'm like, I cannot pass judgment on something that I have not seen. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm going on Twitter trying to find like when it gets posted on YouTube or whatever. And I find it posted, but it's just the song. And I'm like, no. I don't care about the song. I need the setup. I need the whole segment. I need the whole 6-7 minute thing. Because it doesn't work just them singing for no reason. Like I need to see them start singing for no reason. Because then even when something has no context, you still need to see it in context. You know, that non sequitur doesn't make, like I can't just see the punchline. So when I finally was able to see the whole piece, I loved it. Them one-upping each other, ordering because then I see the button of like the raw steak, and I'm like, I don't know I'm out of my element.
Yeah.
But I loved it when I saw it from start to finish. I thought it was great.
Me too.
I mean, I try not to get caught up in it's just, was this in the, when you watch WWE, you can get into such a logic rabbit hole of like, did that really happen? Was it in their minds? Did they, because Vince will do stuff like that where it's like, we saw a dream he had once when he was in the coma, like Freddie Prinze Jr. is the doctor. It's just like, they'll do that type of shit. Whereas like AEW is still, I don't know. They still are, they have an anchor in reality, even when it's, it's like, they started singing and dancing with each other. I don't know. I mean, they pulled it off. It was great. And it's, of course, people are
freak out
about,
they're going to
freak out about everything.
It's week to week. Like wrestling fans, they live every Wednesday, Monday, Friday, and then it's until the next set happens. Then it kind of gets reset. People forget. I mean, to an extent, people forget. But it's also like you want to keep the continuity fresh. And like, honestly, like I was telling my brothers too, you go back, if you go 5 years away from now and like MJF's an established star, top talent, whatever, world titles, you go back and look at that, that's going to be a highlight of his career. Not like something that people are going to be like, oh, remember that? That was a big fuck up kind of thing. Like nobody's going to look at it that way.
No, nobody was hurt by it. Least of all the business,
right?
the company, the product. I mean, it's just, God, that's Vince McMahon talk. That's like your segment would end and Vince would throw down his headphones and be like, you killed the business.
Yeah.
Like at the end of shows, we'd be in the writers' room, being like, "So, who did you kill the business? How many times did you kill the business this week? Have you, you know?" It's just like, come on,
No.
no, it's fun. It was a lot of fun. It
Yeah.
was. I feel like as wrestling fans, we've been burned so many times that when you see things that are, you almost expect it. I almost, because I came in the room and I saw it. I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even give it a chance. I hadn't
Mhm.
even watched it. I was like, oh, come on. But it was like, because that's my, it's
Defense mechanism almost.
yeah, you're a
Yeah.
dog that's been beaten too much. It's just
Right.
like that's what happens. There's just
Yeah.
there's no getting around it. And so like my instinct is to be like, oh God, what are they doing? Instead of actually watching it for what it is. And it
Mhm.
was it was a thing of beauty. I
Oh,
absolutely loved it.
and like, yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, it showcases wrestling as a subjective art form, like for everything,
Right.
whether it's like people, you like it or you don't, it's like they've tried something. I thought they executed it well. And I think that's ultimately what matters. Like if you fuck it up and it looks like shit, then that's one thing that's going to come back at you. But otherwise, I loved it. It was just, yeah, just the ridiculousness of it all.
Yeah. And that was that. I bet that was a hell of a shoot. That is not an easy thing to pull off or to prepare for or to shoot. I mean, God bless them.
Yeah, no, it's another level right there for sure.
I remember there
What?
was a Slammies. We were like, Vince wanted big ideas for the Slammies,
Mhm.
and so we were like, let's try and not recreate, but do something like one year Todd Pettengill did like a song up top,
Yeah.
and maybe like 96 or something, or 97, whenever it was. And Pettengill doesn't get enough credit for what a tremendous talent he is, broadcasting and just, he can work a work a room.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's do it would have been similar to, I think the idea we jumped off of was there was a SNL monologue with Steve Martin
Mhm.
where and this would have been like very early 90s, like, Chris Farley and Victoria Jackson type, era. And it's just a song, and he goes through, and a lot of setups, a lot of like cameras have to be in certain places, and then the cast join in and stuff. Quite the undertaking. And so we wrote this whole thing. I don't even remember who we envisioned hosting it. I think we wanted to have we needed somebody both wrestling and even like comedy, or like song and dance. I guess until last Wednesday we didn't realize how much crossover there was
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
in those worlds. But like, I think even we might have even been trying to get like Cabana on, because it was one of those, because like this would have been like late, when the fuck would the Slammies have been?
Oh,
Probably like late 2011, maybe like winter.
okay. That sounds right. Because I want to say they did those around Christmas time mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like Punk is like running hot, and we're like, oh, we can get Cabana in, that would be cool. And like, I'm buddies with him, so I was like, I would have loved to have made that call, like, hey, do you want to host the Slammies? And be like,
Yeah.
but it was very quickly when we pitched it to I think just Brian Gewirtz. Like, we pitched the idea to him, he was head writer at the time, and he was just like, ooh. He just saw the amount of work that it would be, and he's just like, yeah, I don't know. I know Vince wants something big, but I don't know. That is a lot, because the idea was like, who would we get to do? Because it was just like we kept throwing names around, and it's just like, I think when we gave it the context, I don't even think Brian needed the context. I think he pictured that episode of SNL, and he was just like, well, I mean, it's one thing if you have Steve Martin,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
a week to rehearse this thing and figure out all the camera cues and stuff. But it's like, no, this is something that we're all at TV that morning.
Oh shit. So it's like right. Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. So it's like we don't have like a week of rehearsals and, you
Yeah.
know, access to sets and stuff. It's like we're going to be in the back of an arena scrambling, like, where do we do this setup, you know?
Yeah, exactly. How you go there and where you go there. No, is that the Steve Martin skit where he like is celebrating his like third time or fifth time hosting or something like that, and then they do like
I think the song goes like, I'm not going to phone it in tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, I'm not going to phone it in tonight.
Yeah. Shit.
That type of thing.
Yeah, those are the best times for SNL, I feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat it. All right, let's I want to get your thoughts on Hell in a Cell that just finished up. We talked about Randy Orton winning the title. How'd you feel about that main event? Just Drew and Orton and how it all went down.
Good. No, I mean the match was good. It's always hard when the opening match, basically, you know, not the 24/7 belt, but like,
Yeah.
you know, Roman and the Usos. It's like when there's a Hell in a Cell and they're like, and it's an I Quit match, and then the referee is going to stop the match because it's too violent.
Too violent, which is the point.
Right. And then it's like, and then by the end, I'm supposed to have forgotten that, well, that first one was too violent. And now, like, Drew just fell off the thing and he's spitting out blood.
Yeah.
And Randy's, you know, they're hitting. I'm like, this is so I'm just like, why do you do that? Why do they? I don't know. It's just Vince, you know, he's like, nobody's going to remember that.
Screw that.
But I dug it. I dug the match. I dug all the work they put in. You know, Randy being champ, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just,
I'm with you there, yeah.
have we given up on Drew? Is that the like what? It's just, and Randy of all people, it's like I was saying to you before. I'm like the pay-per-view ends, and then it starts with the Untold about Randy versus the Undertaker, and the first thing you see is Randy, the year 2000, 20 years old, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I'm like, that guy just won the belt again. Like, what do they do? Like, it's not like Drew's a spring chicken, you know? No. It's just like, can we get some new people over?
Right. No, it's like, is that the crutch Vince is leaning back on right now? Is like, is he going back?
Huge.
Yeah. It's just.
Well, what's funny too is you watch these segments from, you know, when they were building that whole feud between Randy and then Bob Orton Jr. shows up and like Undertaker, and they have that, and it's a great moment of television when like Randy wins the belt and they're celebrating and they've got him hoisted up, and then you hear the gong, and then Randy's like, put me down, but everybody's still celebrating.
Yeah.
But he knows what's coming. You look at that whole crew of wrestlers holding him up. It's like, those are all guys that have come and gone. Yeah. And they're still going back to fucking Randy, you know?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me. And like Undertaker just retired. Like, like they had to do a Michael Jordan documentary just to be like, it's over.
It's done, okay?
Like we're holding you to this, Mark. You can't come back.
You're done, all right?
You're done, son. You're done.
It's over. Put the boots in the ring for the final time. It's over with.
It's incredible to me. But the finish aside, the action was great.
Yeah, you know, and I just feel like it's such a shame. Like Drew has not gotten like a real like honest shake because of this fucking pandemic. Like,
no, Drew's cursed. You know, he just completely is.
It's just like, oh man, because you know, you want to see how the crowd reacts to him. You want to see all that stuff and how I think he would really flourish in that kind of environment. Like,
yeah, I mean, fuck, he's a guy that we would see all the time. Not all the time, but because we're on the West Coast, but like, you know, when he would roll through PWG and it would just be monster. And we would see him here and there. Kind of like, well, where else was he working? Was he in Ring of Honor? Was that what he was doing?
Gosh,
Evolve? No, he was in Evolve, right?
Evolve. He was in Evolve. Yeah. He was in Evolve. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like we didn't get that stuff live unless we were like doing like a Mania week or something, and then you kind of get to see everything. But it was just like Drew. It was always just so obvious. I think it was just. Vince comes out, calls him the chosen one, and then it's just like you set this guy up to fail.
Yeah.
It's just like that's the curse, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the chosen one. I mean, fuck, when I worked there, the gimmick on SmackDown was like Teddy Long fired him every week. It was like Drew, like in storyline, was getting sent home every week. I don't even remember the circumstance or any of it, but it's just like I remember Big Show or somebody coming up to me afterwards like, why are you guys doing Drew like this? And I'm like, well, there's like a story that's happening. We're trying to get somewhere. And then it's like, yeah, but God, that's like, it's the last thing we do around here. Pay off our stories. God.
Who does that?
So wrestling.
Gotta live for the moment, damn it.
God damn it. Nobody remembers them.
No. Yeah. So what was your favorite Hell in a Cell match tonight? 3.
Bailey and Sasha for sure.
Bailey and Sasha, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Those two tear it up every time they're in there. And then that was great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The action and back and forth that they do. And, you look back and that nod that she made at the end to their Brooklyn match with her like slamming her leg against Bailey. Like they did that at the end of that match there too. It was like a nice little tie-in at the end.
Yeah. I also love because they can't hear the fake crowd noise. Only we can.
Yeah.
So when they're on that side, the announce side working, Bailey kept responding to Michael Cole's commentary, which I was like, that is a thing of beauty. Where he's just like, oh, it seems like Bailey's really enjoying herself. He's like, yeah, I am. Yeah. I was like, turn the volume down on the fake audience. Like, let me hear them battle back and forth. It's great.
Bailey's somebody that's flourished with that too, like being in
the
time. She's really has.
Yes, because I mean, Christ, think about it. Like, after Triple H, they were the first people we saw in the pandemic era. It was like Bailey and Sasha coming down the ramp, just being like, where are all the people? What's going on?
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember watching that being like, please be the only people that do that. Please be the only people that pretend you're looking for people or you don't know why there's not people here. Or I'm like, just because it's just that's a joke you can make once. And then the 15th time some wrestler comes out and they're like looking around like, wow, where is everybody? It's like, guys, I am scared to death.
Okay.
Stuck at home. Just let's do wrestling. You're the only show on. Can we please have nice things?
Just something. I thought it was I'm curious how they go because I was just like, I was really hoping that they would main event or be a part of Mania, like that match itself. So it's like
there was something about like, I mean, it's WWE. I was even thinking about this earlier about, I think Bryan Danielson said this in a interview once years ago. Said that him and Claudio were talking about the booking logic that Vince uses, and that one day they just decided, they're like, wow, it's almost like a parody of a wrestling company. And then keeping that thought in mind, that's what allowed them to continue forward working there, where it was just like, well, stop expecting it to be a wrestling show because it's not. Because that's one thing I say all the time on We Watch Wrestling. I'm like, if you're going to go, you can't watch WWE and then get mad when they give you WWE,
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to the hardware store to buy milk. It's just it's on you. It's on you at that point. So I'm like watching it and I'm like, man, why are they blowing? It feels like, because I still watch things as a wrestling fan because I watch so much wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, why are they blowing this feud off? Like Bailey and Sasha, they just tore it up in a Hell in a Cell. They changed the belt and like, damn, they left nothing on the bone. I'm like, wait, don't believe the hype. It's WWE. They're gonna run this thing into the ground. You're gonna see it 10 more times before Mania. You know. But luckily with those two, it'll be good. It'll be, I mean, better than good. It'll be great. You know.
Yeah, and just I just can't get over how I remember when Bayley turned heel, and I'll be like, they really blew it with her babyface run, and I'm like, can't she do a heel? And she does it awesome. Like
she's amazing.
Yeah,
like Aunt Pam. I want to speak to your manager. That is her.
Yeah,
it's just great. The haircut. How what a talented performer that she has been able to just on first sight convey her character through her hairstyle flawlessly.
Yeah.
Both times it's just like, I understand who Bayley the hugger is. I understand who Bayley the Karen is.
The Karen is.
Like, it's perfect.
Out front of Baskin Robbins.
Just like, I counted the flavors.
Right.
There were only 28.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I really did like how I almost thought the Roman match should have main evented too in a lot of ways tonight with that story that they told between him and Jay. It was I thought it was a long match, but I thought the story that they told made up for all of that, any length or how it kind of dragged on in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it was strange. I mean, there was more talk between the bells than even action. That was a very unique thing, but I was just like, I don't know. I get hung up on how often in WWE they do the shocked face when a guy kicks out a 2 and they're just like, what do I have to do to put him away?
I was going to bring that up because
that's a story you can tell.
Yeah.
But it's just Vince tells I don't know who it's Vince, and then it goes down through the producers, and then it's just, God, sell it like you can't believe it. What do I have to do?
Yeah.
I should go back and watch Vince on commentary in matches to see how many times he says that. What does he have to do to put him away? I bet you that was one of his things, oh, what a maneuver. 1, 2, yeah, you got, oh no, just a 2,
yeah, that kind of thing.
I bet you he would say that all the time, and I never even noticed.
And now he mentally pictures it in his head when he's watching it, and then he's like, fucking say it, or look it on your face.
Oh, God, show me the shot. Because it's like, every match, during Bayley and Sasha finally gets to the point where Cole, and Cole's got Vince screaming in his ear, and Cole's like, what does she have to do to put her away, Corey? And it's just like, man, it's because that's a story you can tell, but it is all I see is Undertaker and Shawn at Mania, and that face, Undertaker laying, when he kicks out of the tombstone, everybody in the place is shocked, and then you see that face on the Undertaker where he's just like, huh?
Yeah.
And the camera's right there, and they push in on him, and it's amazing. And then it's just like, oh, God damn. You got to do that every match.
Beat it into the ground, damn it.
It is just, it's just, I can't picture, Harley Race just getting up and being like, I can't believe it. Almost scared of the guy, just what is this? What is going on? Right.
Yeah.
He's just be pissed at the ref. That I can get into. You're just come on, that was 3. What are you doing?
Yeah.
2? It was 3. That type of thing. But
or take out your aggression on the guy or the gal laying down. Just go after that. Yeah. Find a different outlet than a shocked face.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where it's just when you start thinking about blinking, all you can do is think about blinking, and then you're just why do I keep blinking? It's I just noticed it one day. I'm every match somebody's made this shocked, dumbfounded face, and I'm oh my God, they do it in every match.
True though, it is true. And I see that too. I was watching Bound for Glory. I was covering that on Saturday. And I'm pretty sure I've seen that a couple times during that show too, where they do.
Well, it is this trickle down where it's just if they do it in the E, then it becomes the thing to do, or it's just that's how you work, or especially when guys who were in WWE leave to go produce other places or work other places. Like, no, man, this is how you do it, type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, it's like some of that stuff it's kind of embedded in some of the, talents that are there, and then that's what they're kind of aware of, and going to another place and executing it there. I don't know, like Impact, I feel really suffers from that a lot of the times. Like,
Yeah, I tried ordering that. My cable wouldn't let me.
really?
I would click on the thing, and then it would go to the screen. I was like, this has to be wrong. It said I was about to order a Joel McHale comedy special.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I hit buy, and then it even says, it was like the Joel McHale comedy special at 11 p.m. And I'm like, but it's 5 p.m. What is going on? And then I scroll through the guide, and there it is. And I'm like, I'm not paying for this. And then I cancel that, went back, couldn't do it.
Really?
Like, God bless you, Impact. I tried my best. Talk to Spectrum.
Yep. It was all right. The show itself overall, like, had some moments, but Impact never seems to escape like the technical issues or certain flubs like that. Like,
yeah,
Matthews is on a hot mic again. It seems to happen like every big show. He's on a hot mic, and then there's something else happened. Oh, no joke. They did a cut scene with Rhino and Heath, and he started up like getting all fired up and getting in his Heath mode where he's like, all right, man. And then like he's starting to deliver his lines, and then production, no joke, they stop the fucking skit. They stop it. And then they're like, hey, restart it. And then he does it and restarts it again. All on air.
Oh, no.
All on air.
We're live, pal.
Yep, that's just live, pal.
I love Heath, too.
Yeah.
I did, man, when I was there, it was like the build to Raw 1000 was like a legend's going to come back and squash Heath. That was like my favorite thing. And then it built up to like the Raw 1000 with Cyndi Lauper and Piper, and then hitting the thing over his head. I was like really fired up to like pitch that and be like, can we do this? Can we get Cyndi Lauper there? Is Wendy Richter cool with the company? Like, what can we do? Like she's like Piper's giving her the to make up for the one that got smashed over Albano, and it's just like, and it becomes this beautiful moment. Then on my second run was was this on the second run? Yeah, with Keith had he's got kids. I was always writing these drafts that would get changed, but it was like I had like a vision of, we need to see the trailer with all these kids. We need to see, because that was like the big thing, was like he was going to put in a pool.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I remember that. Yep.
He was going to install a pool. Yeah, I did write. I wrote something because like Rhino was eating all the cheese whiz on the crackers.
Cheese on the crackers. That's right.
Yeah. Totally. But that was like, I had big ideas for that. I was just like, like 18 kids just coming in and out of the thing, and it's just, but it's just like it's that the most difficult thing about being a writer anywhere is, you don't have to worry about the logistics. That's somebody else's problem. It's just like, I'm going to write it. You figure it out, whereas WWE, it's like, you're also producing the content as well. It's not just, God damn, this is great. Send it to, the production coordinators and the location scouts and this and that. It's like, no, this is on you, pal. And it's just like, oh God. And you've got 2 hours to do it. Go.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Well, something too I appreciate, like that you mentioned a lot of things, and I don't think a lot of people are aware about too, is like a lot of fans and stuff give shit to the writers in WWE. It's just like,
yeah, it's because they don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know, like, it all goes to Vince. Like, he's the final decision maker.
Right.
What
it's
it all
Vince.
Down to.
Like, the wrestlers don't even get it.
Yeah.
That's the amazing thing, when the wrestlers don't get it, when they're just like, oh God, why are you burying me with this thing? It's just like, dude, like, my job now is to try to logically explain this to you of why we're doing it,
right?
Where the hell it's going to go,
Mm-hmm.
But I've been handed, like, I understand my title is writer, but I have been handed a script by Vince McMahon, and now we got to make this thing work, because somebody's going to get yelled at, and it ain't going to be you.
Right.
It ain't gonna be you, Randy. You know.
Yeah. So no,
But no,
it's
I mean, yeah, when people blame the writers, it's just so it's like you could not be. But I mean, that's true. That's true with any TV show, because it's so funny too when they're like, when people like shit on the writers and they're like, oh well, they're writing for Vince, they're writing for an audience of one. It's like, well, nobody, you got 30 writers, nobody there is going to say, Vince, this idea sucks. It's like, that's not how a writing job works on any TV show.
Yeah.
You don't go to the showrunner and be like, this show sucks, your ideas suck. Like, you don't walk up to Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld and be like, this joke isn't funny. Like, I don't think the joke is funny. It's like, no, you go and you type it up. You know?
Right.
That's your job. My job isn't clickety click. My job is pitching ideas to the guy in charge. That's what a writer does. You know?
Right.
It's very, very seldom is it who's the funniest and who's the biggest wrestling mind. It's who thinks of it first, who can say it first, because it's like there's more than one right way to do something, but it's also like who can get it out first.
Right.
And there was a guy there. It's so funny. So many of the things that I'm talking about, there was a guy who was so good at seeing where you're about to go and then jumping in and then being like, yeah, we both came up with it. That type of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, people blame the writers. It's like, yeah, please give me a break.
It's just like structurally overall, it's just that's the situation going on.
My favorite thing is when somebody gets at me on Twitter about like booking logic or just the writing in general. I always reply to them with Vince McMahon's Twitter, and I'm like, Vince, stop everything. I figured out the key to solving all your problems. It's this guy on Twitter with no profile picture and 38 followers. This is the guy. This is the guy you need. He's got it figured out. Oh God, I always love that.
Man, yeah, dude. It's overall too, just from a business and our wrestling landscape. How do you feel about how it's been so far? Like with Dynamite being incorporated, and then you got all these Raw and WWE being on like several times a week, plus like with the pandemic being a factor and independent wrestling kind of making its comeback. How do you feel this whole situation is currently as it's set up for wrestling right now? Are you pretty optimistic in most parts, or is there some like you guys are very, very positive overall about the aspect of wrestling because you guys love it and I love it too. So it's like, I want to kind of see what your take is currently on the situation with kind of just like the unknown being in the middle of the air.
Well, I mean, that's just the thing is everything's always uncertain. I think, I mean, we're the luckiest people in the world being wrestling fans just because it never stopped,
No, it didn't.
It was strange seeing it without fans, but it was also interesting. I was just like, what is this going to be like, And then eventually I'm just used to it. I mean, I feel like WWE overthinks things. Vince overthinks things. I think the Thunderdome is weird, but it's fine for what it is. I've been in the Thunderdome.
Thunderdome. Sheamus, you were right there.
Yes, Sheamus needed my help. He needed me so badly.
He was reaching for you.
I think the piped-in crowd noise, it's like when you notice it, it's not good.
Oh.
I think
Speaking
Dynamite
of,
has.
Did you notice the holy shit piped in tonight? They did the holy shit piped in chants.
A chant? Did they?
They did. Uh-huh.
Oh God, I didn't even notice that.
When
During
Drew
what?
went through the table, they started holy shit chants.
God, I must have left the room. I can't even believe that.
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, my God, really?
Yeah, really?
Oh, God bless them. God bless them. God, because yeah.
Crazy. Dude.
I mean, Dynamite has done a better job with the, I mean, first of all, being in the open air is great. When they were at the other place, when they had to leave Florida, or were they in Georgia? I can't even keep track anymore.
Yeah.
But it was like when they were in the smaller place and it was just the wrestlers on either side, I'm like, well, this is brilliant. you know, because they certainly did that first before, you know, WWE started populating with NXT talent.
People, yeah.
But even then, and still, like the NXT talent is everybody's just waiting to get into trouble at WWE, you know? And so it's just like they overcompensate and the chanting and the you know, I'm just like I like the presentation on Dynamite with the people at ringside much better. You got, you know, Austin and Billy Gunn,
Yep.
psychos. You just have, you know, when Britt Baker would be out there, it's just like she's just disgusted by everything. I dig it. I dig it a
It's a
lot.
very like a Where's Waldo almost. You open it up and there's like
Yeah, and there was also just something in general I liked, particularly when it was smaller in the other building, when it was just this is almost how wrestling should be, where there's just heels on one side, baby faces on the other side. It almost feels like, because that's what I love when everybody's, you know, you don't need your top guys involved in everything, but it's just like when the whole roster is there at once of just like, it reminded me of like the, you know, the Land of a Thousand Dances video where you just got like the good guys on one side, the bad guys on the other side. It's just like that's my favorite. The image of, you know, whenever it's like the Super Friends,
yes.
and you get and the Legion of Dooms on the other side. It's just
Yeah.
like, you know, they're always coming at each other. I love that. That's my favorite thing. All the good guys on one side, all the bad guys on the other side. So it reinforced that idea of like, I love a full house. I love like the Great Muppet Caper where all the Muppets live in the same hotel together. Like I love everybody together at once.
As a kid,
You know?
I loved the Christmas episodes with the Muppets and Sesame Street living together.
Yeah. And then the Fraggles showed up. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Totally, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. Because it's like, that's the thing with wrestling is you have this huge, we've been watching, we've been going through Mid-South.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah.
And it's like, I love that the roster's basically only a dozen guys, but everybody's involved in everyone else's business. You can interchange anyone at any point. It's just like the good guys hate the bad guys hate the good guys. You know, there's like specific feuds, like things that come up, but it's just like, you know, Mr. Wrestling 2 hates Magnum TA, but he also hates the Rock and Roll Express. And then he also kind of hates Jay Youngblood now all of a sudden. And he still hates the Midnight Express. I mean, it's just like he hates Mr. Wrestling 3. He kind of hates everybody.
Yeah,
He probably hates himself ultimately.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just I think New Japan has clearly done it the best. You know, I mean, Japan as a country has clearly done it the best. They have thousands of fans in the building, and they had not a single problem. It's pretty astounding. As far as the presentation as a whole, I think that the Pure Tournament on Ring of Honor has to be the best use of there not being fans there. There's something about presenting like, we're going to do mat-based technical wrestling with these specific set of rules. It almost is like you should be doing this tournament in like a dojo setting, you know,
right? Where they make a purpose for that, like for the
it lends itself to the situation as opposed to like WWE is just like I don't know if you saw pictures this week of like Mitch McConnell. He had like a bruised lip and like
hands real bad.
Yeah, and it's just like that is so emblematic of that guy, just to stand there and pretend like nothing's wrong. I'm like, that's WWE. It's just like, no, there's fans here. Everything's fine, you know.
COVID, what is that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the way like Vince has approached the whole COVID thing to begin with. Like, no, nothing stops us.
Don't talk about it.
We're doing WrestleMania still. It's going to be better. It's just, you know, so it's just like this weird, like, you know, like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It's just like, no, let's go behind the curtain. Let's do like, so I think Ring of Honor and New Japan and AEW. But I mean, I've gotten used to. It's so strange watching old footage. I'm just like, it gives me pause. Like I have to take a minute when I see fans in the crowd, or like people they're so close to each other.
So close, or like, you know, they're even now. Like I see like tonight, like Drew's mouth got bloody and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, like thinking they kind of like
right. Well, even like, I mean, I'm used to at least now the wrestlers wrestling, but like, God, like, was it at Mania or leading up to Mania? There was like a moment where Kevin Owens came out with the Street Profits and they just like shook hands, and I'm like, oh my God, they're raw dogging it, just hand on hand. What are they doing?
What is that concept?
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, it's still so goddamn good. You know, I mean, WWE is still, it's just WWE, and I'm not expecting it to be anything but. And NXT is good, but it's got the same drawback it has always had for me, where it's just the main roster is a black cloud that
The end
hangs
game.
over
What's
it.
the end game?
Yeah, because I'm just like, it's like every Vietnam movie where you're like, this. I feel like the sergeant who doesn't want to learn the new guys' names because you're just gonna get killed eventually.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I'm not gonna have my heart broken falling in love with you.
Yeah.
You know.
No, they've trained, like, mentally trained me to kind of be like that too. Like, well, we saw what happened to Tyler Breeze when he went up there, and we saw like different things like that, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Everything gets kind of screwed up. You don't know what, like Ricochet. You'd think Ricochet would have been just boom, shot crazy.
God, dude, you're talking to somebody who like was a PWG regular,
Yeah.
and then to see Ricochet, it's just like, what are they? What, like, you have to try so hard to screw that up, you know?
Yeah.
It's just almost this, I don't know what it is with Vince sometimes, if it is just this, you know, he doesn't know how to do it, you know, I'll show him. Like, I'm just picturing Vince going in the ring and showing Ricochet like, this is how you do a 450 flip.
That easy.
Move, you know, hold my muscle milk.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but it's just, yeah, but I dig, as far as on NXT, you know, it's just like Gargano, you can't go wrong. Candice, they're such great heels, like beyond effective. Like, I can't stand them,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I keep catching myself. I'm like, oh wait, that's the point. Like, I'm like, there was no bigger fan of Candice than me, and then all of a sudden I'm like, get her off my fucking screen. You know.
Yeah.
And then Shotzi's just, you know, my favorite.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then,
that's right. Yeah.
oh, love Shotzi. You know, we would see her in SoCal all the time. And then they just did the match, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago, her and Candice. And then I'm amped for Halloween Havoc. You know, I'm such a nostalgia mark, and the spooky stuff, and she's going to host it. I'm just like, I'm in. I'm all in. You know, Grimes is going to be a riot. Like, he's got to fight in a haunted house now, apparently.
Oh my God, are you serious? I didn't know that.
Him and Dexter Lumis in a haunted house of terror match. Dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I mean, Lumis, you can take him or leave him from me. He's not my favorite, but that's a situation where I'm like, okay, I can be down, where he's just, you know, he should have 2 bolts in his neck. It's just, that's who he is.
Yeah.
But Cameron Grimes, I mean, when he was Trevor Lee on the indie scene and PWG, God, he killed it. Like, he's just too good, too much.
All around, like, he's adaptable, and like he's able to do stuff, and like, but also, you know, has that kind of history to the business in a lot of ways.
But it's one of those things where I'm just like, please don't call him up to the main roster.
Right.
And I'm like, where's Keith Lee?
Right.
What happened to Keith Lee?
Why
is Randy Orton the champion? Where's Keith Lee? You know, what's going on?
There's not a sign of it's crazy. It's just crazy because, like, I get happy for a lot of the talents that I've like met or seen before, and when they do get signed by a company, I'm like, all right, that's great. But then I'm like, I'm not going to see them again for a while. Like, it's like, you know, when are they going to pop back up on my screen? And will they be like relevant and important as they should be? You know, it's like,
I want everybody to make all the money in the world, and I want everybody to come out the winner. You know, I don't want this business to win. I want all the people who are performers in it to win. I
Right.
want them to have the last laugh. So go to Florida, go make a bunch of money, and then come back
Come back.
come back, do the dumb little spot show for me in a theater, and I'll be a happy guy. I'm a happy guy.
So, well, I want to close out too with this too. Like, you talk about PWG. How much have you missed it that you haven't been able to go?
It really, because we were going to be gone for so long for Mania, me and Vince, that we were skipping shows at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
And the PWG show was going to be the first show we go to, like, that Sunday, and then we're on a plane to Florida. And it was just like, there's no way we're going to be in a stadium with 70,000 people.
No. Yeah.
And then and I'm just like, but can we go to the Globe? Can we go downtown? Can we just go see PWG, please? And then when that show finally got canceled, I was just like, damn it. It's like, I'm not going to be at a wrestling show. Like, then we were scrambling to try to think of what the last wrestling show we went to was. And it was just like, was it this year? It had to have been, and it turned out it was, but it was just like, damn it, And when it really hit me was, as the summer was beginning, it was like, oh man, there's not going to be Ebola.
Yeah.
There's going to be no Battle of Los Angeles. Shit. And then when I felt like I got a boot in the stomach, after I found out Eddie Van Halen died, and after I texted Casey Corbin to make sure he was okay, I sat for a while, listening to tunes, listening to Eddie, and then like a ton of fucking potatoes, it hit me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to go to a PWG show next month called Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it. Like, we should be going to a show called Eddie.
Yeah. Yes.
Damn it. And I could see the tickets. The tickets would be like red with the white stripes on them, or some variation of, the guitar, like the guitar.
Yeah.
So it was just like, shit, man. Like, it's just not going to wrestling shows. It just feels like I'm missing a limb. I mean,
it's crazy. It's a crazy adjustment. It's so nuts. We have a little, it's nothing, like, it's KSWA is what it's called in Pittsburgh here.
Yeah.
And, it's just at a bar, like upstairs. And it's at, like,
I love that.
It's just, and it's a mixture. What's so funny is it's a mixture of like families and then a bunch of hipsters, like, all mingled with one another, and they're watching mostly middle-aged guys just wrestle. Like, and
I love it.
It's so fun, and it's just like something that me and my buddies would go do, and like just kind of decompress a little bit from our weekly lives or whatever. And you don't have that now. That's the worst thing I think about this is like having to put that all on hold for the time being. But
no doubt,
it's necessary. I think you just gotta weather the storm, so to speak. So
hopefully it gets sorted real quick.
Real quick.
Real quick would be nice.
We can only hope.
I mean, God, like Mania, it's like Mania was supposed to be here in LA.
That's right.
Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, like that was going to be like, we were going to go to everything the whole week. We would just be kids in a candy store. Just like we could get around, go anywhere we wanted. None of this like trying to coordinate in a different city. And, it's just like bringing people, like I was going to bring Jack to a wrestling show probably.
Oh, see how great would happen. Has he been to a show yet at all?
No.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Punch Turok, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
They rip your head off, brother.
Right. You got to watch out. That's a great wrestling name just in general. E-Fetting days, back in those days, it would have fit right in.
It's amazing. It just came right out of his mouth. This little 4-year-old boy. I'm like, well, who are you? What's your wrestling name? He goes, I'm Punch Turok. I'm like, that is inspired.
Where do you think he got that from? Like,
no idea. He's just saying sounds just saying things that sound like words.
Yeah.
And then boom, came out.
It's perfect, man. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, shit. This is the last question I'll ask you. We know, okay, who's your favorite wrestler of Hell in a Cell tonight?
I mean, I want to say Sasha, but I was watching Slapjack the closest because I was kind of waiting for his mask to fall off.
That's
of his
what
head.
I was thinking too. Shit.
But I think I got to say Sasha Banks just because she's just such a killer. The double knees into the cage,
yeah.
dude. I mean, start to finish, the whole thing. You know, anytime she comes off the ropes, I mean, and then she won the damn thing, got the belt, and it's just the beginning. We're off to the races now with those two. God, I mean, that match was getting built up for what, like a year and a half, 2 years, something.
At least, yeah. They were teasing that for a long time when they were tag team champs way back, like at the WrestleMania New York or whatever.
Yeah, dude. It's been a while building up to this one, hasn't
it? Jeez.
Yeah, I gotta say, Sasha for sure.
Sasha. And I meant to ask you this too. Who was your first favorite wrestler?
I mean, it must have been Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm. I think that was mine too, I'd have to say.
But like, I had older siblings and cousins, so it was on even before, like, I was totally aware of what I was watching, and like, certainly before, you know, like Hulk was super huge. So even like Snuka would have been like my favorite. And then, because like Bruno had retired, but like he didn't come back until like maybe 86, right?
Yeah, 86. Because he started feuding with Savage and all and Piper. Yeah.
But it was certainly one of those things where it was like, I was certainly being informed by my brother of like, oh, superstar Billy Graham came back, like all that stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because my brother's like 9 years older. But yeah, it must have been Snuka. And then very quickly Hogan was like, just, you know, on fire.
All over, man. All over.
I still have it hanging up over there. The this thing right there, I'm sure you can't make it out. That is from the Providence Journal, the day after the first WrestleMania. It's got the picture of Piper in the fireman's carry. Like Mr. T's got him up. Yeah, the sports roundup with the review of the first WrestleMania.
That's so awesome.
Out of the newspaper for me, and it's laminated.
How awesome is that? Dude, what? Yeah, you got all that set up back there. I remember you telling Vince and Tom, I think, about like what new pictures you got up on the walls and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I got Bruno right there. That's Bruno and Zbyszko, both signed by them. Like, that's Bad Luck Fale and Grand Sasuke, and who's that one? Is that that's Haku?
Yeah,
King Haku. There's L.A. Park.
Oh, I love LA Park. Man.
Yeah. When you go around the corners, like, you know, like you got who is that? Oh, that's Terry Funk.
Nice.
You're a good man. Piper, Jesse Ventura. Yeah.
That's a great mix, man. Hell yeah.
I got Owen Hart right there. That's signed by Owen Hart, dude.
No shit.
Legit.
Dude.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I loved Owen, and I've always loved Owen, but going back and like, I read a Stampede Wrestling book, and then I read, like I was telling you, I read the Bret Hart. I've been reading the Bret Hart book again. It's just like, I have so much love for Owen Hart. Like, it's just what he was able to do. And he transcended. He could have easily fit in today and done something.
Owen is like one of those guys where it's like, he was on the track to having the last laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. It's such a fucking travesty. Beyond like my selfish desires of just enjoying watching him and being tickled by everything he did, and then subsequently hearing all the stories about like what he would do backstage and on the road and pranking guys and shit
out of people.
Oh my God, it's a thing of beauty.
Fucking.
But it's just like, that was a guy. his family was first. This is what they say: his family was first, and wrestling was just. I'm just doing my job, and I'm gonna save all my money, and I'm gonna have the last fucking laugh.
Yeah.
That's
what Brett was saying too, is like he was the kid that wasn't going to be into wrestling, like that wasn't supposed to get into it, anything like that. And sure enough, it's what happened,
It's wild.
Sheesh. It's a bummer, man. We watch wrestling. You guys got a new Patreon setup kind of format too, don't you, happening?
Yep. We're I don't know if we did it yet, so I'll hold off on announcing it. But yeah, we're going to be changing up our Patreon starting in November. We're going to be doing, a lot more of the bonus audio, and we're amped to be doing it. We're going to be putting in a lot more work with it, and free show, free audio every Wednesday, 3:16 a.m. on Wednesdays. Check us out. We haven't missed a week yet. With a Cal Ripken Jr.
streak going on.
We've got a fucking streak. I think I've only missed one issue. Back in the Tom days, there was one issue where it was just Vince and Tom.
Oh.
Just because it was like, well, it's just especially when the world hadn't stopped, it would be like I'd get booked on Conan to do a sketch, or like have some random job, or like something going on with my kid or whatever. Life is in session, like I said, and it's just like. That was one week. It was like we were about to record, and I'm like, I got to go to Warner Brothers. I got to shoot a thing with Conan.
Yeah.
And it was like, do we push? Do we? Because then it was like trying to coordinate 3 guys is already tough. Like 2 guys over Zoom is already like, well, when can we? And it's like, and there's nothing going on. It's tough. But and then that was like, well, we've never done an issue where it was just Vince and Tom, and then and now Tom is gone. It's just me, and he's not dead.
Yeah, but he's okay.
He's fine. He's about to have a kid. He's doing great.
Yeah.
But me and Vince. But yeah, every week we watch wrestling. It's the absolute best. And if you guys like, I don't know if you saw, like I got all my VHS tapes, and
yeah,
I just got a new bookcase for some more. I needed some more spacage for the DVDs, so I got my video podcast every on the weekends. I justifying my movie collection, where I watch one piece of the video archive. Yeah,
good shit.
And then I got a podcast with my wife. I love you. Okay.
Yeah, that too happened. And I always appreciate there's some random times I'm just like on streaming TV, and there you are on a commercial that I see and everything.
I'm doing my best, man. I'm trying.
Keeping the nose of the grindstone.
I'm trying, brother. And the CD. Well, it's not a CD, but the album, Sober Dad. Matt McCarthy. It's on all digital platforms. Get it. Download it.
Scoop it up. I'm gonna tune into it too, man. I'm gonna
Call Sirius and request it.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yes. Huge.
That does a lot of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right, everybody. This is Dominic DeAngelo. Follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. Oh yeah, how do they follow you on Twitter? Let's get that.
At McCarthy Redhead.
Yeah.
All forms of social media.
All forms of it across the board.
That's right.
You can follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. Go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling writing needs. So there you go. Hey, thanks guys for tuning in. All right. And thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
All right.